Hello guys, hello 2026. How are we all doing? I hope you're all doing really well. I wanted to sit down and bring to you my first video of the year. So hello guys, welcome to my channel if you're new. And if you are an existing subscriber, then thanks for coming back. I hope you've all had the best time over the festive period, and let me know, how are we all feeling for the new year? Are we raring? Are we excited? Are we welcoming the year? Are we saying goodbye to a really good year, or are we saying goodbye to a not so good year? I think I read somewhere that last year was the Chinese year of the snake, and this year it's the Chinese year of the horse we're leading into, and the two kind of signify differences. So it kind of resonated with me, but the year of the snake brings a lot of like low times, grief, sadness, difficulties, and the horse is kind of like new beginnings, new starts, thriving. So hopefully, if that resonates with any of you, if you've had a not so good 2025, then we are moving on to bigger and better things in 2026. So I just wanted to sit down, have a bit of a catch up. I do at some point within today's video as well want to get a little bit organized. As you can tell here, I've still got advent calendar up. I'm obviously pre-filming this. By the time you're watching this, all the decks will be away. But for me currently filming, all the Christmas decorations are still out. So I want to get on with sorting all of that out. I'm going to, Tom's not here today, so I might have to get his help tomorrow to put the tree away, but I'm going to put all the other decorations away. I'm going to take off all the decorations of the tree and do all of that kind of stuff today as well. But if you haven't already, make sure you're set with a nice cozy drink. I am sipping on a peppermint tea this morning. I also did just want to kind of touch upon like a few kind of like goals and resolutions for the new year, things that I kind of am looking forward towards, things that I want to continue on from, habits that I picked up last year. So all of that is within today's video. And since this vlog is about kind of like the whole new year reset, I did just want to talk about something which I think is very important. I think a lot of you will kind of relate to this as well. So this part of the video is in a paid partnership with BetterHelp. And as I was saying, with regards to new year kind of like goals, resolutions, if we're talking things like that, I've been thinking about what it is that I want to achieve, but also reflective on the patterns that I could always slide back into, especially when it comes to my anxiety, which I would feel, I mean, it's something that I have talked about before on this channel. It's something that I've kind of like always had for as long as I can remember, from before I even knew what anxiety as a term was. And I feel in a really good headspace at the minute with regards to that. And I feel like for the most part of 2025 really, I feel like I've been, I mean, obviously I have my moments, but I feel like I've been far more in control and aware of like my anxious thoughts and things that can like spiral and overwhelm me. And I put that down to speaking to a therapist. I think I spoke to a therapist for about a year, and it really helped me personally. And ever since doing that, I remember thinking I would just recommend it to anyone and everyone, regardless of if you even feel like you're struggling. It's something that you can dip in and out of. You don't have to be doing it all the time. It's like myself, like I've had a section of my life, a big section of my life, where I felt like I needed to speak to somebody, a professional, and it's the sort of thing that really helped educate me around my way of thinking. So before I ever spoke to a therapist, the way that I used to deal with the kind of panic spiral is like push those feelings down and just hope they disappear, which is like a really unhealthy habit to get into, because it was every single situation that would ordinarily bring on that panic was bringing on that panic. So it got to the point where breaking that cycle just felt really difficult and impossible for me. And I just felt like there was never an out, never like another side to dealing with these like overwhelming thoughts and feelings. So for me, therapy was a huge education. It was the place that I not only learnt how to manage those moments, but also why I may have felt the way that I did. And that's something that I can go into more about if you do relate to it and want to hear about more. But overall, things like breathing techniques, meditation, mindfulness, also even being vulnerable and honest, less of a people pleaser mentality, rather than kind of like bottling up any feelings, just kind of being honest with myself. And obviously that takes time. It's very easy said than done. It did get to a point where it was like something that I believed would never help without having spoken to a professional before. So yeah, that's kind of like my journey in a nutshell with therapy and speaking to a therapist. Life brings lots of ups and downs, and I just really liked the idea of speaking to kind of like a non-biased, like a professional, and ultimately someone that knows what they're talking about. Today I am partnering with BetterHelp. We're on a mission to make starting therapy easier. So you can simply visit BetterHelp, and after you fill out a short questionnaire, and they will connect you with a credentialed therapist who are trained to listen and offer that helpful, unbiased advice. And I think the best and most accessible part to that is that if that first match doesn't feel right for you, you can easily switch to a different therapist at no extra cost. If you do want to try BetterHelp, I will leave a link in the description box where you can click through betterhelp.com/freyafarrington to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's betterhelp.com/freyafarrington. Link will be left in the description box. So thank you to them. Thanks to them not only for partnering with me on this video, but also just to have made it more accessible for people. I think we should sip away, get all the boxes out for putting the Christmas decorations away, and just begin. I think I'm going to start with possibly taking the baubles off the tree actually, and then there's a few, like I said, things around the shelves. There's Christmas cards or Christmas decorations that I can box up and pop away for next year. A whole other year to wait till Christmas. But no, we had a really good one this year. Very chilled, very relaxed. I'm glad to have Tommy back, who's very much missed in this year. With obviously the previous 2 years we've actually hosted, so it felt very quiet this year. But yeah, just very chilled, very relaxed. Who knows what will happen next year. And yeah, we'll have a chin wag after I crack on with some decorations and discuss maybe some like goals and plans for the new year. But first up, let's stop procrastinating and let's get a move on. You know, you call this procrastination, but I feel like it's a message that I need to get out there because I haven't even got around to, literally, I've made it from the chair halfway through the corridor towards the Christmas tree to start taking the decorations down. And I opened my phone and saw this Instagram, which I was just talking about this, so I feel the need to read it out. And it just says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but 2025, the year of the snake, was never meant to be easy. It was a year of shedding, relationships, attachments, versions of ourselves that no longer aligned, truths were revealed, endings arrived without immediate answers, stillness showed up, but not as failure, but as necessity. Kind of like leaning into that it's meant to be kind of thing. Everything happens for a reason. And 2026 is the year of the horse, a shift into strength, momentum and forward movement, action with purpose, freedom with direction. So be mindful how you close 2025. We are not carrying old energy into what's meant to run free. So there you go, if you needed to listen to that. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's a slightly different post, but the fact that I've just seen another one, I felt the need to just tell you again. Anyway, I'm going to take my tea in with me because we've got a lot to do. We've got the garland to take down. We've got the Christmas wreath to take off the front door. We're starting now, like I said, in this front room with taking down the tree decorations and also the garland on the fireplace. We've got a lot to do. I've brought all the boxes into this front room already. This is the sort of task that I don't enjoy doing, but I feel better for doing it afterwards. Plus I do miss the lights on the tree. It's so magical. When you take it down, it just feels so bare. I have just realized as well, we have a little bit, but not too much, delved into the chocolates on the tree this year. So I've got a few chocolates to put away in the kitchen. Some Hotel Chocolat, some little Lindt teddy bears, we still have a lot of Christmas chocolate left over. Does anyone else? I know a lot of people think new year, new me, let's start fresh, but we're not like that. We are, oh, especially as January, it's my birthday. It's like, no, we will have little bite-sized treats, and yeah, we have a lot of bite-sized treats left to be had though.
I'd say it's obvious you're fed up somehow. Been hesitating, pulling away when all that you're trying to do is ease my mind. Ooh, serves me right for being way up in my head and never let you inside. Ooh, my life, I wanna try to make it better, but I don't know how. 'Cause now I'm thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if you want it or not. Thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if I'm what you want.
I can hear the pitter-patter of some footsteps. Are you coming up for a little cuddle whilst I sit down here for a minute? Made ourselves another tea. Oh, that's hot. Hot. Feeling somewhat more organised. Still got a few things to do, but not to actually put them away. Come on then, you jump up. I need to bag up the tree, like I said earlier though. I need to wait for Tom to do that. Come on, big jump. I really have to encourage him to get up onto furniture. He's always like, oh, I don't know if I want to jump up or not. You can come up. Anywho, let him decide what he wants to do. You'll hear him jump up in a second. But yes, I wanted to, come on then. Come on, there you go. I wanted to just sit down and have a little break, and I know I said earlier about chatting through a couple of like goals and resolutions. I don't have loads, but I just thought, honestly, I've just made an excuse to sit down for a cup of tea for a little break. I actually made a little, oh, you can see I'm all lit up here. I've got my laptop in front of me because I put a couple of like bullet points that I just wanted to chat through. Firstly, Pinterest vision board. If you don't already do this, it's something that I would definitely recommend you do. Well, any kind of like mood board, vision board, I know it's not for everyone, but I am a list maker. I love doing stuff like this, and I honestly don't have it necessarily as like the start of the new year I do a vision board and then leave it. I actually just dip in throughout the whole year, and as and when I feel like I want to manifest something into my life, I will just, I'm a visual person in that I quite like so I have it privatized on my Pinterest board, but a private mood board that is called like Vision or something like that. And it's not just for 1 year, I just have it a continuation from previous years as well, because let's face it, a year honestly flies by, and I feel like the older you get, the quicker a year goes. So I don't want like a really unattainable, unachievable list of things that I feel like I then don't get around to and it feels like a failure. It's something that I can come back to in future years. So I just have a bit of a Pinterest mood board, and something that I love doing. I know most people start with more exercise, healthier eating. However, I feel like for, I want to say the last few months of the year, maybe even from like summer, I had a bit of like a health awakening, epiphany type mindset shift of eating better. And that's not necessarily, I wasn't necessarily doing like eating healthier to drop weight. I did in turn drop a little bit of weight, but that wasn't like my main goal. It was more so because I felt like I was not fueling my body properly. I haven't, since eating healthy, I haven't, touch wood, I haven't got sick. I haven't felt under the weather. As and when I have maybe felt like the winter tickle, I've managed to keep it at bay. And I think the only thing that I've changed is eating healthy. And that's not to say I'm not going to get a cold at some point, like that might happen. But for the most part, I have shifted my mindset with, and my relationship with food. Sorry if this is triggering for anyone talking about food and eating habits and stuff, but I had an unhealthy relationship with food, I want to say. I have never, thankfully, suffered with any kind of eating disorder or any kind of mental struggle with a relationship with food. I was just very lazy, I want to say, when it came to and lack of willpower when it came to eating. So I would look at something and say, right, I'm gonna have a cheese and onion pasty from Greg's and a piece of cake. So that physically there's not much to that, but calorie wise it was slightly higher in calories. So I would rather have that as like a main meal, because I would get the satisfaction from having saturated fats, sugar, whatever it be, and rather than have a meal that is full of nutrition to the equivalent calorie amount. So I kind of said to myself, rather than do that, let's just have everything in moderation and not restrict, but also above all fuel my body with good nutrition. So that was the main thing. I was sort of saying to myself, look, it's far better, rather than saying to myself, I'm going to have that big chicken salad, instead of all of that food on that plate, I would rather just have a cheese and onion pasty or a sausage roll. Rather than look at it like that, I kind of shifted my mindset of thinking it's better for me to have that sausage roll and the salad, so that at least I'm fueling my body with greens, nutrition, more protein, all of these things. And then naturally I've kind of like felt better for eating the healthier foods, to then start reducing the amount of sugar was my main thing, and takeaway food and like unhealthy fast food and stuff. And again, that's not to say that I restrict and I cut everything out, because I absolutely don't. I just don't have it every day and in excess. Sorry, I feel like I'm waffling on about this. It's really not that big of a deal. I've just kind of shifted my mindset, and I'm going to continue that throughout 2026 of fueling my body with better nutrition, better food, my supplements, which I again am very religious with taking every single day. I feel like I've got a good routine with my supplements, and I've kind of fit that into my habit, and I have done pretty much throughout, I want to say, a lot of 2025, so I will continue that. In terms of exercise, I don't want to pin too much pressure on myself yet again. I do a walk every single day with Barney, 2 walks usually, so I'm walking for at least, I want to say, 1 to 2 hours a day. I enjoyed doing a few reformer Pilates last year, so dipping into that as and when, or just doing some more yoga, more kind of stretching out, relaxed, low impact type exercise. And I also really enjoyed going on the odd run here and there with Barney, so like the odd 5k park run. So I want to just say continue my relationship with exercise into this year. I also love a good clear out, love a good organise. I really want to at some point do my first ever Vinted drop, Vinted sale. I quite often have in the past gone to Depop, but I feel like more people are on Vinted nowadays. So I would quite like to at some point have a bit of a wardrobe sort out and list some things on there. I also want to have a phone clear out, which is a bit of a random one, but I always find my spaces, if they are unclear and untidy, I find it overwhelming, and I feel like I want to do that with my phone. I have a very organised home screen, I'll show you. So as you can see, I have a widget on the front, Widget Smith I think this app was called, where I can upload my daily step count onto my home screen, which allows me to be reminded of how many steps I've done that day. So I've taken Barney for a walk this morning. I will be doing a second walk, so we'll be looking to double this figure by the end of today. And also I just have my main apps on the home screen, but also everything else I have kind of categorized into folders. So I've done that already, but I want to have a bit of a clear out, especially like my photo albums, where in the past I've shot content for Instagram or whatever. I've got 50 of the same pose showing an outfit, and I don't need all those photos. There's areas in the house that I'd love to clear out. Something to bring in, I would quite like to, and kind of relating to the photos that I was saying on my phone, I'd quite like to do a more more printouts where I can have photo albums or have organised photos, hard copies, because that's one thing that I feel like we don't do in this generation. And I love the fact that our parents have like tubs of photos that we can look through. Yeah, I feel like with technology they can kind of get lost, so it's quite nice to have them printed out. Something that I picked up especially towards the back end, I want to say even just November, December, was reading more. I got into the Fourth Wing series, of which I'm on the second book currently, so I'd like to order the third and continue that reading spree where it just be even a chapter a day. I also have found from, I know we spoke about therapy towards the start of this video, but something that I did learn a lot in my year therapy journey of pushing myself out my comfort zone. I learned that about myself. That was one of the big takes. There was two big takes from therapy for me. Well, there were loads actually, to be fair. I can't even say there were only two. But one thing that springs to mind is my people pleasing traits, which wouldn't necessarily serve me well. But the second thing, and the thing that I was going to talk about, is the fact that I learned that I actually thrive. Where I thought it was my weakness, being out of my comfort zone, I realized that actually was a strength, and it was where I would thrive. So although these overwhelming thoughts and feelings could feel awful in the moment, after those situations or after overcoming uncomfortable situations, it felt like a superpower. Honestly, I felt so much better afterwards. So and stronger, more resilient, and that is something that it's one of those bittersweet things of like, I'd love to push myself out my comfort zone, but at the same time it's like, I know it's going to be a difficult journey to do that though. But as and when I overcome things or face things, rather than just shutting them down, being open to thinking, is it something I want to do, it's just out of my comfort zone, or is it something I don't want to do and I'm doing it for someone else? If it's something I don't want to do and I'm doing it for someone else, then I can comfortably say no. However, if it's something I'm open to, but I feel like it's easier to just say, nah, you know what, it's a bit out of my comfort zone and I'd rather not face those uncomfortable feelings, that actually no, pushing yourself out your comfort zone, and it can be silly little things like, I don't know, taking yourself on a solo cinema date. That can feel uncomfortable for some people, but it's just, who cares? Who cares what other people think? No one is sat there looking at you. Sorry, we've gone back on a bit of a therapy chat there, but I feel like I could just talk about it for so like long, with like so many points that I kind of took from that period of my life. But anyway, we're not talking about we're not going into a deep dive of therapy right this second. I feel like I need to finish off doing a couple of bits, popping some more bits away. I've not been sipping on my tea.
Now I'm thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if you want it or not. Thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if I'm what you want. I've been here waiting, it feels like ages. All I can think about is where we went wrong. You can be cold sometimes, don't even know you sometimes. Am I the only one who's trying to hold on? Ooh, serves me right for being way up in your space when I should give you some time. Ooh, my life, I wanna try to make it better, but I don't know how. 'Cause now I'm thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if you want it or not. Thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if I'm what you want. So many things I'd like to say to you. If I was only capable to, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to move on. I'm just thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? If you let go of me, don't you let go. Thinking, oh my, what if you just let go of me? 'Cause I don't know if you want it or not. Thinking, oh my, what
Okay, the infamous treat bowl. Clearly this is very seasonal. We've got loads left of our little Lindt chocolates, so I'm just, obviously they keep, so I'm just going to pop them in the cupboard and refill this bowl with just some Gold Weathers Originals, which were actually in there before, and I popped them in this glass tree which I've had on the kitchen island. There we go, all empty, and then I can pop the glass tree in storage as well. We did have some Toblerone in here as well, but they have all gone. If you're wondering where this bowl is from, it's from a brand called Salt Home, a nice little smaller independent online website, and we got the Bress salt and pepper mills that we have on our kitchen shelves from them too. Ignoring the fact that the tree is obviously still up, it is looking very bare and naked. We just need to bag that up and take that upstairs along with the other things, but yeah, everything's looking very bland. I'm going to move that coffee table back in the middle, but I'm just going to wait until we pop the tree back away just for convenience and for ease. But yeah, everything's looking very plain in here. Excited to give this a bit of a restyle within the next couple of weeks. Obviously the garland and the wreath has come down, and then in here, just for now, popped the chocolates in this vase, because obviously this is an all year round vase, so I can just pop that back away when it's done. Rather than putting them away just yet, I'm just kind of like keeping them out for a moment. But otherwise, oh, I need to put that tree. I've just noticed that tree in the corner. Still got my Harry Potter Lego on the go. Given that it was kind of like a festive activity that I was doing, I'm gonna keep that out again, just because I've really been enjoying just spending like an hour or so whilst the TV's on, just plugging away at that. Again, we've got some more Christmas chocolates out, and we'll just keep that one out for now. And of course, this beautiful bouquet of flowers that Tom surprised me with over Christmas. So, so gorgeous, and they are absolutely thriving. The lilies haven't even opened yet, so I feel like we've still got another maybe a couple of weeks out of this bouquet. So yeah, it is blooming gorgeous. I love it so much. As for the console and the shelves, everything again is looking very bare. I don't want to say bland, it feels very clean, I'm gonna say, because I don't think it feels bland, it just feels very clean. So like I said, with the next couple of weeks or so, I will be restyling these shelves, I would have thought. So I'll probably show you guys in a vlog. I have kept out these stems. I'll put them in the basement when I'm ready to, in the storage in there, rather than in with the Christmas decorations. They're tiny little pinecone style stems. I think, where did I get them from? Dunelm, I think. And I had them out in autumn and for Christmas, but I don't think, because they're not that festive, I don't think they look bad. So I've left them out for now. Anyway, I might again replace them as we head towards spring, or even within the next month or so if I feel like I want to pop them away. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, look how empty this shelf is. All of the Christmas throws and cushions are away as well. I need to fluff up the cushions because I have just been sat on the sofa for a bit. But yeah, otherwise it's looking very de-Christmasified. Barney's toy basket, yes, your toy basket, look at that, it is overflowing with all of your Christmas toys that you got from Santa Paws. Right guys, oh, I think we've got somebody that is coming to say hello. He's saying hello. Oh, can you smell a treat? There's a treat up there, isn't there? You can have it. I feel like Barney's making his way through his Christmas treats just as much as we still are. Right guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and conclude today's video here. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know what you would like to see from me throughout 2026. I would love to know your guys' feedback. I always feel like at the start of a brand new year, it's always really a nice time to just get all of your guys' feedback so that moving forward I know what it is that you're keen to see from me. Thank you of course again to BetterHelp for very kindly being a paid partner with me on today's video. Again, just a reminder, with BetterHelp I will leave a link to them, a unique link which will get you 10% off your first month. I'll leave that in the description box below, where you can even refer back to if it's something that you want to think on. Just think, remember, Freya's first video of the year, hello 2026, I discussed BetterHelp, and you can always come back to it, but I will leave that link in the description box below. Thanks to them, thanks to you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon in my next video. Bye guys.